Welcome to Spiritual Rebirth Tarot. I'm Madelyn, your energy healer and tarot reader. So nice to have you here for this pick a pile for a relationship. So this can be any relationship, a love relationship, a partnership, a parent, a child. I simply asked for the cards to be for those watching and selecting the pile. So as you reach into the energies, the A is on the left, the rose quartz in the center is B, the amethyst, and over on the right is C, and the clear quartz. And so take some time, pause the video, and meditate and reflect on which pile would be beneficial for which person you're thinking of in the relationship. Or it could also be a relationship that is going to be coming into your life in the future. It's just a relationship in your mind. So as you think of those energies, and let's get started with the reading today, asking for divine guidance, direction, and protection on the reading. Okay, let's begin the reading with Group A. So first we'll be looking at the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards, the situation, the things that are hurting your relationship, and the things that are helping your relationship. And then I pulled some tarot cards and some whispers of love cards. So for this is for Group A. And then I will continue in the extended talking about, the blocks, other blocks, fears, hopes, ways to kind of combat that, advice from your higher self, whatever kind of flows in the energies, as an extension of this reading. Okay, so let's start with the three cards. The first one, the giveaway, is the situation of this relationship to me has a very happy, joyous, sweet, loving feel to it. And it kind of has that sun energy pouring down on her. She looks like she's a dancer in Hawaii. Has a lot of maybe, if it's romantic, kind of a romantic type of feel. Or a relationship that has a very sweet and loving type of feel to it. And then also I'm noticing the three circles that are different sizes and colors, and I feel those kind of are directing me toward the chakra, that there's a connection in the energies of this relationship with you. You have some energetic type connections, happiness, loving, and at the same time the number is 23, which is 5. So there is, change, progression. The relationship isn't static, and it's changing toward these things as you move along. So your relationship with this person also, I feel like they're either you or them, or have some air in your chart, an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. There's a lot of air, some you can see the wings, a lot of air energy, very airy. And there's definitely some fire as well. You see the red fire in there with the sun, the Leo. And we definitely have also, with these wings, I'm getting the feeling of messengers and like messenger birds and messages of peace with the doves. a feeling of just kind of an overall excitement about life, and just also the giveaway part to me is pulling in this idea of there's a real give and take in the relationship. It's not a relationship that looks only at the give or the take, but there's a little bit of both. Like Brené Brown has this great take on life, and she talks about relationships. You might listen to some of her stuff, whether it's children or romantic relationships or parents. She talks about different types of relationships, and one thing she says is when her and her husband come home at night, they each say what percentage of energy level they're at. She's like, I'm 20%. He's like, I'm 30%. Or she's like, I'm 50%. He's like, I'm 20%. And so as they express and communicate these levels of energy, they're able to give to each other appropriately. So one knows, okay, I've got to take care of dinner tonight because the other one's just too tired. Or, I need to deal with, some of the issues with the children because this other person can't do it, or, go run the errands or whatever. And so there's that give and take in the relationship. So I feel this relationship really has that ability to give and take. Even if it's a child, a child is really able to give of themselves, give of love. So for whoever you're thinking about, I feel like, you're kind of reaching, you can see, like reaching up to the sun. So really happy, joyous relationship. So the thing that's hurting is the medicine wheel. The first thing I feel here is kind of confusion, disillusionment, insecurity, kind of a blockage of that energy. So there's, some blockage or insecurity, especially in the solar plexus, which is the security, confidence. So it could be that someone in the relationship itself has a lot of like love, happiness, excitement, give and take, but someone, either you or them, really struggle with your self-esteem and your identity. So there's like 1,000 different animals here. Which one are they? So who do they identify with? What's their identity? And the color yellow, the solar plexus, kind of points to this, to those feelings and the concepts of self-esteem and strength. It's right here in the belly, and so it's like a strength of character. And so many of us have a tendency to get a little extra belly, and a lot of it's because we just don't have that, self-confidence to really help and support that part of our body. And this little red section is really coming out to me. So for some people, it's a family member or a familiar type situation that's kind of causing this block in the energy. And maybe this particular person doesn't have good self-esteem because of something from their childhood, something that happened when they were a child that kind of made them lose their identity, their self-worth, who they really are. And so many different animal spirits here. There's also like a arrow going through it. So maybe for some people there's like a kind of like a bluntness, so telling the truth at all costs, straight as an arrow, pushing that, arrow energy forward no matter what. And so, once in a while that kind of like breaks out, probably because of the insecurity. And so, overall in the relationship, it has a lot of like happiness and joy and celebration. giving, but one or both of you really kind of struggle with this self-esteem, identity, and kind of coming from a family of origin type of situation. So the card that is the benefit or the help for you is the Thunder. So, and this has that beautiful sacral chakra well, it really has both the color of the sacral and the color of the solar plexus. So, a lot of kind of like thunder is about, kind of, you could think of passion and just letting things just tear through the situation. And I think, thunder only comes because of lightning. And this has bison or buffalo in the pictures, like the thunder. So when the bison are running through the fields, it just makes a sound. There's just no way not to make the thunder sound. When lightning strikes, thunder will happen. So it's kind of like a cause and effect type of situation. And so, something that could be helpful to you guys is just having that every day in and out, cause and effect. You do the same thing every day, and but yet not. But I you have plenty of that, fun and spunk, and so adding a little bit more of just that cause and effect type feeling to the relationship, and strengthening the confidence both in each other and in your individual moving forward. Okay, so let's take a look at the tarot cards. It came out. Okay, so we did 6 cards. So it starts with this beautiful, kind of like an opportunity or a start or a gift. And so this relationship is a gift. It's an opportunity for you guys. It's for some of you, it's a relationship that will increase your wealth and abundance, and maybe between the two of you working together and individually. And then that's cool. The next one is the King of Wands, who's kind of like the coolest king. He has that beautiful fire energy. So, again, we're being pointed toward someone, with the fire. And then we have Strength, which is fire, which is Leo. And we have the King and Queen of Wands together. So if this is a romantic relationship that you came to this reading for, there is a lot of passion there. Because the way he's sitting is kind of away from her, the total extent of the passion may not be exhibited right now. It may need to, like, you may need to turn toward each other, but there certainly is a pretty, you're a good balanced couple, and there's some real spark. So if we're looking at like mother-child type relationship, or any of those other kind of relationships, there's still a real strong maturity about this relationship. And we definitely have familial, so, you have children in the mix, either his children, his children, her children, their children. It could be, like, this is your child. If so, it's very happy home situation. So there is some holding back. That could be that person, especially in the relationship, that has a low self-esteem. They're kind of holding in, they're holding back. Or it could be that one of the two of you is a little too stingy with your money. And so, moving forward and having less stinginess is good. So, but the overall energy and the outcome of this relationship is strength. And it's the 8, which is the infinity symbol. And so, strength is what this relationship is about. And so, in your life, when you are having a hard time or a struggle, this relationship is the rock of Gibraltar. It's the strength that you need to get through, whatever situation you're trying to face. And let's take a look also at the 3 oracle cards that we pulled, which are from Whispers of Love. Be authentic. Be real and true to who you are and how you feel. And that is so cool because I was talking about Brené Brown, and so I think that you're definitely being pointed that way because she's all about vulnerability, authenticity, shame, and guilt, and also just, learning how to be vulnerable and authentic enough that none of those kind of things really matter in your life anymore. And so as she's, this card is really, pointing out, go ahead and be your authentic self in this relationship. And that for a lot of you, you are your authentic selves. And if you aren't, it's okay to put more of it in because that will make it a stronger relationship. And then also listen to some of her videos about relationships. Simple acts of kindness. Kindness energizes you and brings happiness to those around you. So, take a look at the relationship, see if more kindness can be put in. And that can be a strength in this relationship is that kindness. And be in the present and dream of the future. So for this one, it's all about the being in the moment, mindfulness. Really, there may be some things, especially as about, for at least one of you, there are some, childhood traumas and things in the past. Those have to be dealt with and healed, worked through. But in the end, you can see here, it's kind of like there's the past of those pyramids and there's the future of kind of like this palace. And yet in a way, it's kind of the same. It's like everything's the same as the world turns. And so looking at someone else's past or your past or, thinking about what the future is going to entail really isn't as significant as enjoying the moment. So I hope that helped. And we will continue. Let's look at some of the, because we definitely were drawn to air signs and fire signs for this reading. And so what I'll do is pull some cards for if the person, I feel like, especially Gemini and Aquarius and Leo. So I'll pull some cards for those and some advice from your higher self and things like that in the extended, and continue on with understanding this relationship better. Okay. All right. So check out the other piles, pile B and C, if you'd like, and kind of see if those resonate with you better, or maybe for a different relationship. So this might be your love relationship. Another one might be more related to your home or family. Okay, take care. Welcome, Group B, to your reading for the relationships. And here is the amethyst. Beautiful. So if you're drawn to this crystal, or to B, or to this in any ways, once you've done some meditating. So this will be about a relationship. It could be any kind of relationship. A child, a mother, father, a sibling, coworker, lover, friend. And so place your intention for the person that will be kind of talked about, and ways to help this relationship to grow. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at the 3 Mystic Shaman Oracle cards. The first one is the relationship. So, it's the staff. So the staff is really important in the shaman journey, shaman energies. The staff is kind of a way to, bring in a lot of the healing energies into a source. And when I think of a staff, I like to think of Moses in the Bible, and how he had a staff, and his staff would do these really cool things, miracles. So he one time threw down his staff and it became a snake. And then when he picked the staff up, it became a staff again. And it was to help, Pharaoh, believe him, and that he was really speaking the truth of the situation, that the plagues were coming. And then the other time he used the staff, I think it sprouted and actually began to blossom. And so in the tarot, all the staves have sprouted. So it has that energy of growth, even within something that is dead. Now, by this particular, so when I would relate that to this relationship that we're talking about, it's a relationship that may have been dead, but now is alive. And, that's in both of those stories, that's, something that may appear dead to others still has a lot of life and value inside of it. There are times when things are just truly dead. We need to let them be, let them go. But I'm thinking that this relationship is pulling you to that. It's also pulling you to see the bigger picture. Because the animal spirit of the giraffe is about seeing the bigger picture, because the giraffe will stand there and see everything around it. It'll see where its next food is. It'll see if the enemy's coming. Both in protection and in nourishment, and all different ways. The giraffe sees things from a bigger picture, or kind of that message of things aren't always as they seem. And so in this relationship, there are some things that aren't seen but yet are there. Things that, a bigger picture will make a big difference in the relationship. So if we're looking at with the child, you may feel like there's no hope, and that you're just kind of at a dead end. But there is. It is blossoming inside. Allow it to really happen in your lives. And if it's a love relationship, it may feel like it's dying. And I'm starting to find there are so many great things on YouTube about how to revive a relationship. A lot of them have to do with, finding somebody to date, or when you first start dating, or a little further into the dating. But the thing is that when you are in love with someone, and even if you've been married for 50 years, part of the secret of keeping that alive is dating every day and using these principles that they talk about in that situation. So now this is 51, which boils down to the number 6. And the number 6 has to do with stability. And so with the giraffe, we can think of the four legs. And then with the 6, there's even more stability after growth. So 5 is about change and growth. And then 6 brings in even more stability after that change and growth. So that again is pointing to, there may have been some change and growth in this relationship that now is going to come into fruition or into a fruiting type of situation. And I'm being drawn to that little tiny, kind of like a moon, hanging off of his ear. And it's not actually a giraffe, but from a distance it is. So I needed to talk about that. It's interesting though, because it has both horns and antlers when you look really close. And so horns and antlers are completely different, because antlers, you regrow every year and they fall off. Horns, they stay on forever and they grow. So there's both aspects to this relationship, a long, steady growth and kind of like new opportunities every year or every season as things come along. So that's another aspect of that relationship that we see here. So this really is coming into a beautiful relationship that right now may feel a little stuck, but know that it's only the beginning of something new as you're moving into the 6. The 6 is also the Lover's card, which has a lot to do with making decisions from the heart. And so there may be some decisions that you'll need to make in this relationship that are coming from your heart. Okay, so the next card is things that are hurting the relationship. And it's this 9 completion, and it's the Ouroboros snake. And it's kind of like the snake is cutting off the heart, so it's not able to beat properly. And so there may be external factors in your life that you're allowing to affect you. For example, a snake, it's really great, and they can, they can do a lot of things. They can be very strong. They can be huge. They can be small. Snakes but they have one thing in common. If it's super cold, they don't move, because they don't have the thyroid controlling their internal temperature. They have an external temperature source. And so something in the external is keeping your hearts from beating properly. And so in a love relationship, it could be a third party, another. And third party doesn't just mean a person. It can mean a person, but you could also be in love with your work and be a workaholic, or you could be in love with gambling and be, gamble hog. And those kind of things need to go, because they're constraining and they're constricting the heart. And then, when it comes to children, there's something that's keeping you separated. And one thing I've learned about children is, a judgmental attitude and a pushy attitude and wanting things to be just doesn't work. But so many times just spending a little time, and knowing that your happy, beautiful demeanor will help them and rub off on them. But if you are allowing the external forces to control you, like this snake, it's going to be cutting things off at the heart. And then, with siblings, and those kind of things, again, look for external factors that may be getting in the way of a relationship being, having the true heart chakra opening. And you can see the colors here, and there is green. There's a different chakra colors. The potential is there in the card and in the snake and in the imagery, but it's kind of, it's kind of keeping things away from where it needs to be. And, the number 9 of the completion, it could be that somebody in the relationship is just feeling like it's come to an end and that it's just not going to move any further. And even though you know that deep inside that there is life in there, that if you, and it's interesting, the snake, if you take the staff and you throw it down, it will turn into the snake. There is life in the staff. And then you pick it up and it becomes the staff again. But someone in the relationship may have already ended in their mind. And it may or may not be something. You can't force someone to do or feel a way that you would like them to act or feel. And that may be part of it, is that letting go and seeing how things happen on their own. And the thing that is helping, or the most helpful in this relationship, is the Rainmaker. So one of the first things I'm drawn to with her is the wings. So angels can really be helpful in your relationships. This is also the 6. So there's 2 6s and a 9. So you may want to look up 66 for an additional message on the angel messages. And this is pointing toward the angels and the angel messages. So something that will really help you is turning to the angels for help. The angels come to you and they say, we will come and help you in this situation. We will help love to flow again. We will help rain to flow again. We will help love to flow again in your hearts. We will bring this energy back into you. So when things are parched, it's kind of cool actually. The Rainmaker goes right along with this. So you have a staff and it's old, but let's say you put it in the ground and you water it, and it starts to come to life, and the water brings life into it. Now, that probably won't happen, but we can imagine we put enough Reiki energy or something where this staff comes back to life. And only the way it could do that is through this rain. So the angels, the ascended masters, the whoever you turn to for guidance and direction, God and the source of all it is there to help you and guide you in this. And then we also kind of, with her arms up, it's like she's totally letting go. She's just dancing in the moment. She's living in the moment. She's living the dream. She's living the dream. So one thing I want to do, I want to grab my angel cards. Let me pause. I feel like we're being pointed to an angel message. So archangels, what is your message for Group B? Okay, so I put Reiki energy into the deck. You are safe. Archangel Michael, I am protecting you against lower energies and guarding you, your loved ones, and home. So for some people, this relationship may be unsafe in some ways. And if that is true, you need to get out of it. It needs to be dead. But, go to a counselor, go get help. But at the same time, Michael will come to you and help to be there as your strength and as your protection. And on the underneath, Archangel Azrael, your loved ones in heaven are doing fine. Let go of worries and feel their loving blessings. So, for some of you, the angels are coming to you and saying, that, maybe you're having questions in your mind about loved ones. And, there's so many different religions and that believe so many different things. And I am the first to say that I would never attempt to have someone believe something different. For me, losing my sister at a young age, at 18, I've never really thought about, like, I grieved her loss, and I think the times that I get the most upset is when someone else is doing something with their sister and I'm not. They're best friends with their sister, they're hanging out with their sister, they're going on a trip with her, they're sharing their children together and their lives. And that jealousy, I think has been the strongest factor for me. But as I began to believe in reincarnation and understanding the soul, I have really felt a lot more connection to her in a more meaningful way. And that even though she is gone from this realm, she's still very much there, and we will be reuniting in the future. So whether you believe that you go to heaven when you die, or you believe that you go to, like the way I was raised, that you go to sleep in the grave until Christ comes and takes you to heaven, whatever beliefs you have, I think just really knowing that they're safe and protected and will be there to help you in the future. So I think that's a side message that the angels want to give. I think they want to give a message of protection and a message of connection with people. And with this relationship, maybe some of you picked a relationship where the person is dead, and to realize that at the same time their soul is alive and maybe very busy. I know my sister, I have never directly connected with her, and I really feel that her soul is very busy out in the world. In the universe, and I'm okay with that. I feel okay with that. So this relationship, I feel like we're being drawn to the earth elements with this card. So I want to look at Capricorn, because this is the time period of Capricorn. So in the extended, we'll look at some of the zodiac signs. So I want to look at Capricorn for sure. And then there's some air here. So we'll look at Aquarius as we've entered into the age of Aquarius. So Capricorn and Aquarius. And let's see what other signs you may look at in the extent. And it could be that you are Capricorn, or that the person you're thinking of is one, or the same with Aquarius. So all right, so I pulled some tarot cards related to this relationship, and they are from the of course I'm gonna forget, Guardians of the Night. And each tarot card has an animal presence, so one or two animals to kind of help with the energies, with the animal energies. So the first one is the Eight of Cups. So for some of you, there is a turning away from this relationship. It is finished, it's completed, you're moving on. For other of you, it's a turning away from what has been. It's a death to what has been, and a new life to some other aspect. The relationship is changing. For instance, when I get a divorce, I still have a relationship with my ex. It's gone from a marriage to a co-parenting relationship. And so, it still is a beautiful relationship in its own way, and it's much better in this particular setting. And I would say it was definitely, we went through the energies of the Eight of Cups, moving. For you, it may be that the relationship is feeling stale and it's going to move into a higher level of love in the near future. And so that's kind of what the Queen of Wands is saying. She wants to bring that energy of creativity and passion back into the relationship. And also, oh my goodness, two queens right next to each other. That's really cool. The Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. So let's take a look at fire sign as well. Let's go with Sagittarius. My dog heard somebody outside. So the Queen of Swords, brings in this energy of truthfulness and just looking at things in a very direct and truthful manner. She's also, it's at night in the moon, but it's those things that aren't always understood. But the owl is, is piercing. It's able to understand. I think the owl also relates to messages, messengers. So it could be that there is a message of truth coming into this relationship. And that message of truth will free it. Free it to go into this Eight of Cups energy. And so, again, relationships can change into coming closer together. Relationships can change into moving further apart. But they still can be strong and good relationships in their own right. And the Eight of Swords, we have two eights and a 9. So you might look up 88 as well. And that's the 2 9s as well. The Eight of Swords, where to me, this is always like a portal. So you're just thinking you're going into the nest of safety. But here instead, it's actually a portal into the unknown, into this mystery. And so there's kind of a switch of fate. And so, this Eight of Cups moving into a new energy, and the Eight of Swords moving through a portal into a new energy. So this relationship, although it feels very stuck and dead, really is poised and ready to move forward into the next phase. Because, the world is all about coming to the end of the new beginning. And that completion card basically is the world card. The end of something, the ending of a cycle, and the moving of a cycle, and into the 9 of Wands. Just having a lot of prickly situation, having to stand on your own 2 feet, kind of being alone, maybe because you have to, being left alone. It's interesting that the fox is here, because the fox kind of is the representation of like a long-term life commitment relationship. And the porcupine has to do with pain. And he doesn't mean to be painful, but he just is. And so there may be for some, I'm thinking that for some of you, there's a pain related to a long-term relationship. And, some sort of movement. This rainmaker is the only way for that to change. So in the extended, we'll be looking at, I want to do a Capricorn and Taurus, because I really feel the earth coming through strongly, even though there's not a lot of earth cards. I don't know, just feel the kind of like that being in the dirt, half, kind of like the ending of the cycle. So let's look at Capricorn and Taurus and Aquarius and Sagittarius. Okay, so the last three cards were from the Whispers of Love deck. And so listen with your heart. You are listening, but need to hear with a loving heart. So it could be that part of the issue with this relationship is the communication. And not only listening, but really, you're not only hearing, but really listening to the person. That you could speak and you could say things and the person could appear to have heard you, but yet it hasn't really gotten through to them. And sometimes this can be fixed and sometimes it can't. And I think that if it comes to a child, learning like maybe their love language, and instead of speaking to them, doing things for them, or acting in a certain way, just spending time doing nothing with them. Whatever their love, is expressed the most, ask them, how do you feel the most loved? Listen to that, and then try to bring that into their life. Embrace your emotions. Allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. So something may have happened to you guys where you're just unable to express your emotions at this point. And, one of two things happens. Either you walk away from the relationship because the emotions are not going to happen. And it could be, like I said before, that one person is tied up in addictions they're not willing to get rid of. For different reasons, your emotions are just tied up and you can't express them. On the other, but being able to express your emotions will be one of the biggest factors to help for this. Moving from, the Page of Cups to the King of Cups. So, somebody who's really able to feel and express their emotions. And the third card, I don't think I've ever gotten this one. It's the same. It's I love you. These are powerful words. So there are certain people in certain relationships that you're not going to say I love you to. But if it's your children, just say it. They'll remember that you said it, whether you feel comfortable or not. If it's your significant other, say it and mean it. Don't say it if you don't mean it, but it's important to hear I love you. And just, wherever you are, whatever's going on in life, just maybe we're thinking of a relationship that's at work that you're like, I'm not going to tell that person I love them. But maybe, again, there's some kind of love language that you could give to them even at work, either, time or effort. That hug that we're not allowed to give at this time, things like that, where it's just what that person really needs. And so it's the I love you that's being said, maybe in a different way. So be creative with those energies. And that is some really great advice coming through for you, Group B. If you feel like this resonated, please hit the subscribe. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and like the video, share with your friends. And if you want to watch another group, A, B, or C for a different relationship, or for this one, if it didn't resonate, feel free to go over to one of the other groups, and the extended will be on Vimeo, and there's a link below. So come on over to the extended. It's really great to look at the different zodiac signs, especially if you are one of them or your friend is one of them. And then also we look at some messages from the higher self and any other cards or messages that we are drawn to. All right, I will see you later. Welcome, Group C, to your reading. So for the relationship, pick a pile, pick a group. So if you were drawn for the certain relationship that you're thinking of to this group, maybe a child or a parent, a sibling, a lover, or a long-time marriage. So I try to bring all of those energies into the reading in different ways because relationships are relationships, and they all have situations, and they all have needs. So what we do is we start with the mystic shaman oracles, and we look at the situation, the actual relationship, and the feelings of that relationship, things that are hurting it, things that will help it. And then I pull some tarot for your energies, about 6 cards to look at the energies of the relationship, and then some at the end, he whispers of love oracle, 3 of those. So as we look at that, watch all the way to the end, see how you feel, comment below, let me know how things resonated for you. And then at the same time, we'll be doing an extended with different zodiac signs that come up during the reading. So the extended is really cool because we look at those signs, but then also we look at the higher self and what your higher self might want to be giving. So let's start with the relationship. So you picked this, maybe you were drawn to the energies of this stone, the clear quartz, or to the letter C, or some way drawn to this group. And you may find that it doesn't resonate. If it doesn't, please see if A or B may resonate more for you. So the relationship is a 4. It has some stability, some sturdiness, some stableness, some grounded. And the card is Mother Earth. Pachamama, she is that totally kind of like the Gaia, the grounding element. And this card, I love how the earth is burning. And how when you see big, huge forest fires, and there's a few trees in front, but behind is all just the fire. And it's like the earth is burning, she's cleansing it. So this relationship for you has a real sense of grounding. It could be a longer relationship. It's been around for a while, has a lot of structure and support. But in some ways, right now, it's being transitioned, it's being burned, it's being changed, and new growth will come. So there's some for us that burning is important because it kills off what shouldn't be there. It helps to even open the seeds so that it'll grow new trees with the sequoias. It's just really, the energies of the fires are horrible. I've had friends that have lost their homes, and it's really hard. But at the same time, for me in this card, I feel like these energies are really important because this relationship needs that cleansing. And she has this very solemn and stern look on her face, very straight, stolid and sturdy. And so it could be that one or both of you in this relationship are not looking around. You're only looking in one direction. You're being very focused and directional about things, and you really need to let your neck move. Let things move and grow inside of you into a new place. And I'm kind of feeling in some ways that maybe you've been in this relationship for so long, that you just kind of have these certain ways of doing things and looking at things, and you need to, open your mind and open your heart. So there's definitely a lot of grounding energy here. In the extended, I want to look at Virgo and Capricorn, at those earth energies. Okay, so the things that may be hurting this relationship is the Andean cross, which is the 2. So, the 2 goes into 4 very nicely. It's 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2 and 4 interact very well. And yet the Andean cross is, so you may appear to be interacting very well, and yet under the surface, there's something not quite right. And this cross has to do with the 4 directions. And the first 2 directions are the letting go of the old way of doing things, letting go of the old, it's both of the body and of the mind. So letting go of things of the body and letting go of things of the mind. In Reiki, we have the 4 etheric bodies. The, like number 4 again, we have the 4 etheric bodies in Reiki. We have the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And so we want to open and cleanse those bodies, and then also the energy centers, the chakras. And so in this, we kind of are drawn to the solar plexus chakra, the yellow. And so it could be that this relationship is being damaged by somebody not having enough identity, self-strength, self-esteem in the relationship. And so, kind of going through life, thinking, okay, everything's okay, but it's not okay. And it's not okay because there are things going on in someone's head that need to be let go of. I'm not good enough, shame feelings. Brené Brown is great. She talks about shame, and she talks about vulnerability and opening up to the process of change in the relationship. Now, the other 2 directions are the things that we need to bring into our life and hold on to. And so it could be that there are also things that need to come into this relationship to kind of revitalize it. As the fires go through and cleanse it, at the same time, the new growth and revitalization comes underneath. And so that is just as important, the 4 directions when it comes to the shaman way of looking at things. So the thing that could help you in this relationship is truth, the blade. So if you take 4 plus 2, you get 6. And so this is 6. So the blade comes to you, and it's really, the blade definitely is the air energies. It's also the truth energies. And in this case, it's a duality in this card. The blade is a duality. Will you use the blade to kill or to cut up your dinner? So are you going to use it as somebody who is into destruction or into growth and renewal? So, cooking, you cut up things to cook them, and that's a form of creativity and growth. And yet if you use a knife to stab someone, either in the back or in the front, to harm them, with your words and with the truth, if you use the truth to harm, instead of it being something that is growing, it's something that is kind of shrinking down. So the thing that will benefit you is truth that helps you grow. There's never a reason to say a harsh truth to someone that you love. Letting down your barriers, coming to them with compassion and understanding is the way to help that truth come into your lives. So looking at the duality will help this relationship, looking at, what kind of motives do you have? This relationship's been around for a long time. So what kind of motives are there? Some motives may need to be cut away and gotten rid of, for this relationship to continue to grow. So the help is going to be the blade, but not just the blade, but how you use it. And so the 6 is a coming back together after the change. So the 5 is the fire. It's breaking everything down. And the 6 is the rebuilding, the regrowth after the fire that has changed everything. Okay, so let's take a look at some tarot cards here. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 major arcana cards in 6. So the number 4 is coming out again. So I would look up 444 on the Google, angel message meaning 444, and see what comes up for you as an additional message for this relationship. Okay, judgment. So this relationship definitely has that fire that needs to come through it. The death to the old, the rebirth, so to me, this card it's more than just death and rebirth. It really too is looking at, are we judging other people? We were just talking about that. Are you coming at this relationship with a state of judgment? Or are you being willing to accept that everyone has their own way of judging and looking at things? And that you don't have to be exactly the same in a relationship. And that's part of the beauty of it. As they're coming out of their caskets and they're being, either reincarnated or, going up to heaven, to the angels, looking to the angel energy in this card. So there's angel energy, there's rebirth, regeneration, resurrection. And so it's kind of like that energy of the caterpillar breaking out of its cocoon and becoming a butterfly. And it's interesting to me too, because that's where part of this judgment comes in is, everyone looks like this little caterpillar out in the world, but they go through the cocoon process, and some come out as a butterfly and some come out as a moth. And maybe you don't always know. There's nothing better about a butterfly than a moth. I think we sometimes see it, we say, oh, moths, they tend to want to just go to the light. They hang out more in the dark. There's always a little bit of negativity in the moth energy, kind of like, being too obsessive about things and stuff. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lesson there that as you're going through this regeneration process, people shouldn't judge you when you come out the other side. Who you end up being or becoming. Like for me, I call it, Spiritual Rebirth Tarot, because I feel like I've had a rebirth in my life, a new way of looking at things. I went from believing that when you die, you lay in the grave until the resurrection at the second coming of Christ, and then he takes you up to heaven altogether, and that there isn't an eternal soul. So that's the way I was raised. But then once I came to the belief of an eternal soul, I've had so much more peace and happiness. On the other hand, I know some people, as a caterpillar, have entered the cocoon, maybe believing in the eternal soul. They find the truths, with, for them, within the Adventist church, and, come to these other beliefs, and that's really meaningful for them. So we can't judge the process, and we can't judge the result. Whether you become a butterfly or a moth. Now, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. Whew. Okay. And here I was just talking about the rebirth card. And there definitely is something about this relationship that there's too much judgment. So that is the main message. It's been here for a long time. The Hierophant has a lot of marriage element to it. You need to follow your intuition. Not everything is perfectly clear just to your regular eyes. There has been a lot of despair, sadness, depression, not knowing where to turn. It's interesting. I said that the Emperor was the Hierophant, but they're both here. So maybe I need to do this. Okay. I said we'd do Virgo. So here's the Virgo energy. I feel like we have Gemini energy. We have Aries energy coming through. I haven't done any. I just haven't done any water sign. It's just, I don't know. So the main focus, I think, for this relationship is to quit judging each other. Just either accept each other for who you are or go your separate ways. And if you're in a situation where you're in a relationship with a narcissist, whether that's your mother, child, lover, coworker, you have to let it go. You have to find that place of healing. You'll always be in this position as long as the narcissist is having their way. There's also, you guys are feeling like there's opportunities, there's directions, there's an unsurety. I feel like this beast, this judgment is keeping you from the opportunity that's a potential for this relationship. It's keeping you in the dark. It's keeping you away from where you need to be. But there is a lot of potential here. I mean, the Emperor, so much potential for, for this, expansion and growth and beauty within the relationship. Okay, so we'll, in the extended, we'll look at Virgo, Capricorn, Gemini, and Aries. Okay, so let's take a look at the oracle cards that go along with this, Whispers of Love. Treasure your loved ones. It's important to love others deeply. Yeah, this just totally feels like the non-judgmental card. They're in that cocoon, and the protection. Love deeply. Treasure those that are around you. Treasure this connection while you still can. Act as if your partner is here. Whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they are with you so that you will always consider them. So there's a few aspects to this card. One of the aspects of the card is the beautiful energies that are talked about, from Abraham Hicks. The way to be happy, the way to feel happy is to be happy. The way to be rich is to feel rich. So the feeling brings on the vibrational element, which brings on the manifestation into the the physical life. So like the non-physical bringing in the physical. So there's certainly the element of, even if you are single, enjoying being alone, and not only enjoying being alone, but acting as if, I am with someone. I know that sounds kind of crazy, diluted, but it could be in this relationship, we are not judgmental. We are accepting of each other. That be your mantra. We are accepting of each other. Act as if this has all been resolved and taken care of. On the other hand, if you aren't in a relationship with someone, maybe you don't have the child, you don't have the sibling, you don't have the connection with the lover that you want. Who you are right now not only brings that person to you, the person that you are, but it also, I guess, I don't know, for some reason my mind is drawn to, like having sex with everybody. So if you have sex with everybody and you don't worry about it, we have that right, and we have that privilege, but at the same time, if we get, sexual disease that we can't get rid of, are we thinking about our future partner? So, that's just one example. Maybe getting really fat or really thin, I think, well, it's just me. And I don't want to say that in a negative way or judgmental way, because all of us are beautiful, both on the inside and the outside. But at the same time, let's say you just are not physically active, hurting yourself is also hurting that potential partner. And in the future, demonstrate love, find out what is important to those you love, and act on it. So in this relationship, to help you deal with the karmic issues around judgment, set aside the judgment and find that one thing that you love about that person, and ask them what's the one thing that makes them feel the most loved, and do that for them every day. So thank you for coming to the reading for Group C. We'll continue on with the extended, the zodiac signs and the advice from the higher self. Please comment below, if things resonated for you. Like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for watching all the way till the end. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you. And so happy to be able to be a part of this world and uplifting the vibration.